Alright guys, what's the story? Welcome to Martin's World, and I'm your host, Martin Condon. Hey. This is going to be the first episode of the show, and it's basically just going to star me talking pretty much kind of about myself, giving you a bit of a background to me and to the show, you know, the reason why I'm making the show. And just before I go any further, the show is going to be sponsored by the Super Fungi, and you'll be able to buy the Super Fungi products over at martinsworld.ie. That website should be live by the time this video goes out later on today. So the Super Fungi products, basically they're a blend of superfoods combined with super functional mushrooms. The first products we have available at the moment is a cacao blend, and that's available with either reishi, cordyceps, or lion's mane mushrooms. Amazing products, you know. Lion's mane, really good for the brain. Reishi, really good for the immune system, highly important right now. And we have cordyceps also, really good for the cardiovascular and just oxygen utilization. It just makes the use of oxygen in the body more efficient, basically. You know, it's really good for athletes. And to combine those, you know, there's kind of a synergy that happens, and they're really good superfoods. So get over, check them out, martinsworld.ie, go to the store, and you'll find the Super Fungi products there. Let's get on with the show anyway. So I already introduced myself. My name is Martin Condon, and I'm 30 years of age. Why am I making a show? So basically, I'm 30, as I said. I've a bit of a lived experience, and I've been an activist and a campaigner for drug policy changes in Ireland for quite a while now. Going back to an early age, I was criminalised when I was 17 for possession of cannabis, and that kind of set me down the path to kind of have these laws changed, because I seen firsthand the harms that could be done by the law and not the substance. That kind of really brought me to where I am today, you know, all of that work I've done over the years. I got kicked out of school when I was 16, went back to college when I was 21, you know. I kind of worked all in between that, and the recession came in. Once the recession came in, that's when I went back and done my Leaving Cert. And I went from the Leaving Cert then to go to the CIT, and in CIT, I studied manufacturing, GMP, good manufacturing practices of pharmaceuticals and medical devices. Basically all the regulatory, the ins and the outs of making medical devices and pharmaceuticals. And when I finished that course, I went on and done a 4-year course in herbal science. And I chose herbal science, just kind of the name drew me in really, but once I looked at the content of the course, you know, it was really in line with what I wanted to, with the information I wanted to capture and arm myself with for the battle that lay ahead. And I knew there was a battle ahead, you know. Here I am 10 years later still fighting that battle. I basically put a lot of energy into learning everything I could about cannabis and how it interacts with our body, you know, the medicinal effects and all of the ill effects too. And that was great, you know. It was much to the dislike of some of my lecturers, who were kind of like, "Oh, Martin, is this really the best choice of project you could be going with?" and things like that. You know, they were always kind of, there was a stigma there, really, you know. And that by and large is a part of why cannabis is still illegal. There's a major stigma there. We've got people who know a lot about it, who know a lot about the world in which it exists in. So herbal science, you know, natural products, biochemicals, biochemistry, herbalists, you know, herbalism, all of those kind of fields and areas of work. You know, there's people there who know how natural compounds work within the body, but a lot of them don't want to touch cannabis, and when they do, they just want to kind of just go with what the mainstream kind of stuff says is, oh, it's going to rot your brain, and you know, all these unfounded claims, really, like these claims that were founded on a lot of debunked science today, you know. So yeah, while I was in college, I set up the Students for Sensible Drug Policy, and that also allowed me to kind of put a lot of energy into learning things around drug policy and harm reduction, and you know, it was really good. And just, you know, the Students of Sensible Drug Policy, you know, we didn't condone or condemn drug use. We just acknowledged that it happened, and we wanted to have policies in place that are sensible, that don't put people at risk, you know. Um, Drugs are illegal, but drugs are available. They're available from scumbags who'll mix them with some nasty shit that you don't want to be putting into your body, you know. Um, and it's our drug laws basically that kind of put people more at risk because of things like that. You have stuff like MDMA, relatively safe if not misused, if used in the correct way. Um, and then we have scumbags out there who put PMMA into pills instead of MDMA. And that's quite bad. PMMA takes twice as long for you to feel the effects, and it's also like 2 to 3 times more toxic than MDMA. So imagine that an MDMA pill, you take it, you should feel it after 30 to 45 minutes, and PMMA, an hour and a half to 2 hours before you feel anything. What happens is you'll take PMMA, not feel anything, and you know, sillily enough, the students, young people, they'll take another pill, thinking that maybe that was a weak pill or something along those lines, and they die. You know, totally avoidable, totally avoidable. If we didn't have our heads buried in the sand with these completely ignorant drug policies. Yeah, so that's kind of like what we were doing with Students for Sensible Drug Policy. We were hosting conversations, we were getting in experts, we were getting out harm reduction information. We weren't condoning drug use, we were just condoning safer drug use. Something that our government should really learn to do, because what they're doing at the moment is completely ignorant, and it's hurting more people than it's helping. So yeah, that's why our drug laws need to change, and that's why I set up the Students with Sensible Drug Policy. I'm out of college now 2 years, and I'm getting back into the campaigning side of things. Hence these shows. You know, we talk with Neil Prendeville and the likes of him and stuff like that. But like the amount of time I'm after speaking to you now is about the amount of time you might get with Neil Prendeville, and that's not very much time really to be kind of delving into topics that are quite complex, like, and that deserve a good bit of time, because like these are topics that these are topics basically like that when discussed they can kind of lead to solutions that could save lives. Hence why we need to be having more serious and rational discussions about drugs and drug policy in our society, because I think our drug policy is much more harmful at the moment than the drugs. So that's just my opinion. You know, I'm open-minded too. That's opinion's not really cemented. You know, it's quite strong. It's quite firm there. But you know, I'm open-minded. You know, I how these drugs should be in our society. You know, that's something I'm pretty much open-minded about. There's lots of different ways, lots of different suggestions of regulating the different drugs, you know. So cannabis is kind of one that's quite easily regulated, really. Like, it's probably one of the first ones, but our government should just step in and really regulate it, because it's the backbone to the drugs industry out there, to the drugs trade. You know, the criminals out there, they make more money off cannabis, I'd say, than they do from the other drugs, really. Like, just because of how popular the bloody stuff is. You can't turn on the TV nowadays without seeing some reference to cannabis in your TV shows and the movies and the music, you know, all of that stuff. The cannabis culture, it's all around us. And yeah, it's about time we really change our drug laws, take it out of the control of these criminals. So yeah, what got me into my activism? When I was 17, I was out at the airport one evening, chilling with my girlfriend, and On the way back from there, we got pulled in by the guards, two Bang Gardaí, and they searched my car. I had everything. There was no real reason for them to search my car. There was nothing there that stood out other than, the usual. Oh, he's a young person. His car isn't very high end, it was a Toyota Starlet, great car, very reliable, but cheap. And yeah, that warranted for me to be stopped and searched, I suppose, by the Gardaí, pretty much profiling a young person, and victimizing me. I didn't deserve to be searched, I hadn't done anything. Had tax and insurance, had my NCT, all of that stuff, everything, I was completely legit. But the guard just wanted to search my car. So they did. And it was my first time ever being stopped and searched by a guard. And I tell you, it wasn't very nice, They weren't very nice. They were quite rude. And got out of the car, abided by what they asked me to do, to search my car. And they found my little piece of hash I had in the glove box. It wasn't even hidden, it was just in the glove box. And I wasn't smoking and driving either, I had a hash in the car because I couldn't leave the hash at home because my mum would find it, I don't know what was worse, my mum finding it or the guards finding it. I suppose the guards probably, because, yeah. But, yeah, basically they found the hash, told me I was going to be summoned to court, and they went away. They left me there at the side of the road with my girlfriend, quite distraught. My whole car turned upside down. Everything out of the glove box was still on the floor. My boot was after being emptied. The car was after being turned upside down, really, like. And it's not a nice feeling to have to put all that stuff back after them, and it's horrible. It really is a horrible feeling, And what's even more horrible then is the feeling that kind of follows it. This the long wait, the worry, the anxiety, all of that goes with waiting for a court date. It's horrible. And yeah, probably the worst part really was when the guards came and gave the summons to my house. Because the way my mum and dad reacted, it wasn't really nice. I didn't enjoy it at all. I felt like a bit of an outcast, unwanted, unloved, bit of a problem, a burden. I was very vulnerable, and I had nowhere to go. I had no one to talk to really, as such, because a lot of the time you're going to be judged for what you've done. People are going to judge you for having cannabis and hash, right, rather than kind of have a non-judgmental talk to you about things, like, and kind of really help you see what's up. So I couldn't talk to anybody, and I got my court summons, kind of went through a load of shit with my mum and dad and stuff, and man, it wasn't nice, a lot of problems brought about because of having a little bit of hash, like, had hash been legal and regulated, it would have been like drink. I got drink at a young age, but I never had a court summons when I was caught with drink by the guards. And I was caught with drink by the guards once. They brought us home, that was pretty much it. And that's what should be happening with a hash and weed and any other drugs. Guards should be bringing you home to your mum and dad. They shouldn't be giving you criminal bloody convictions, making you a criminal, entering you into the world of criminality where you could be stealing, robbing, murdering, raping, all of the other crimes where there's a bloody victim, Why are we entering people into this world so easily because of committing a victimless crime, Yeah, so I basically got my summons, and I ended up in front of a judge, and that was a pleasure, to be honest, actually. All of the worry and everything, all culminated to that day. I went in there, and I faced the music, and the judge, he was actually cool. He was a really old school judge, McCrory or something, I think was his name, or something along those lines. Anyway, he's retired now, anyway, really old guy. Jeez, I think he retired a couple of months after I was in front of him. And I was up for a little bit of hash, probably about 20 euros worth or something like that. And his reaction, I kind of loved it, to be fair. he was kind of annoyed by the guards for bringing me in. He basically believed what I just stated, is that, like, what are you doing, guards? You know, this, why didn't you bring this young fella home? He shouldn't be here in front of me. His mum and dad should be dealing with this, like, with this young fella. It shouldn't be really a criminal. It shouldn't be a criminal thing, you know. And I was 17 when I was caught, and I was 18 in front of the judge. So I was in there without my mum and dad. I was tried as an adult, even though I was committed a crime as a minor. And yeah, he threw out the case, and yeah, I was allowed to go home, and that was great. I was like, oh yeah, that's not too bad, and things like that. And got caught again, and again, and again, and again. Must have been caught about 10 or 12 times, you know. First time I went in, I didn't get a solicitor. I spoke for myself. And it went well, you know, as I said, judge threw it out. Second time I went in, I got a solicitor. It was Frank Buttermore, and the clown, he was a clown, basically, like, you know. He wouldn't allow me to say what I wanted to say as such. He just wanted to go up and say, oh, judge, this guy is trying to get his life on, and he's going to give up drugs, and da-da-da, you know, and rather than actually saying, you know, judge, this person's kind of a victim of the law and stuff like that. These laws, you know, they're not serving society as they're meant to, and we really should be removing them and things. But clearly these guys who practice law, you know, judges and things, they don't actually want to talk about the laws and the morals behind them and their standing in our society. As one judge said to me when I tried to talk to him about it, this is not the time or the place to be talking about the law. What you done was illegal, and that's all that I care about. Completely inhumane, you know. Kind of poured my heart out to the guy that day, like, really, like, just put it out there. I was honest with him. Much more forward than some of the other people coming up before and after me, where they had victims of their crimes, and they were coming up peddling their fake remorse. Oh, I'm sorry, judge, I won't do it again. Oh, I was drunk or something, you know, all of this crap. And the judge buying it. And then I come up in front of him as a cannabis consumer, and he looks down at me like I'm a piece of shit in his shoe. Speaks down at me like, you know, I'm worthless. And you do kind of feel that way as well, like the way they speak to you and stuff. It's not very nice at all. And you know, I kind of took the emotions and stuff like that, and you know, because there's a lot of energy came into my through that, like, and it's not the kind of energy that you want, and it's very difficult energy to be dealing with. Led me to thoughts of like suicidal ideations and things like that, like you know, jeez, it's not a nice thing to be thinking of, you know, where you're just like, jeez, you kind of want to die because of how these guys are making you feel and stuff, like, and how you're making other people feel around you. As I say, like, my mum and dad weren't too happy about the fact that I was in trouble with the guards and things like that, you know, and all of that stuff makes you kind of feel pretty guilty, you know. But still, at the same time, I didn't believe what I was doing was wrong. I didn't believe the law was like, I didn't believe like that what I was doing was wrong, basically. I couldn't see anybody being hurt by what I was doing, you know, directly as such. Obviously, there was people getting hurt, but they were getting hurt because of me being criminalized, not because of me using cannabis or hash or whatever you want to call it. So you know, that's just the way my mind works. I don't know. I was bullied when I was younger and stuff, like, so maybe that's something to do with it. I never really stood up for myself when I was bullied, and I learned martial arts and things when I was kind of becoming a teenager and stuff, and I gained more confidence, and I learned to stand up for myself. And lo and behold, the next bully I really encountered was the bloody government. And I couldn't back down from that fight then, like, you know. I not want to back down from a fight. So yeah, just super fun guy. Bulletproof coffee. Quite nice. So yeah, college, court, student responsible drug policy. You know, it's been a long road. And done an awful lot over it. Like, you know, I could go on all day about a lot of the stuff I do. Hopefully over the coming weeks I'll have guests in, people I've worked with, people I've volunteered with, that I can really go into detail about some of the stuff I'd love to be telling you about, you know. Rather than 20 minutes into a video here now, I don't want this to be getting too long when it's just me here talking to you and stuff. I know there's going to be shows coming up where I'm going to be delving back into some of this, some of my past stories and things like that. So yeah, anything else really I want to add now at the moment? You know, yeah, and there's nothing else I can really think of off the top of my head. I just had a tiny few bits and pieces just kind of written down there, not really scripted at all. Just wanted to just have a little few bits and pieces I wanted to get out there, important bits. So guys, you know, I hope you can join me over the coming weeks as I release shows. There's going to be video, there's going to be audio. We're going to cover a wide range of topics. Today, you know, I pretty much talked about drugs and things like that and drug policy, and that's just because for the last couple of years that's kind of been a large part of my life, just because, you know, when you have your freedom taken away and you're locked up for 5 days in Cork prison and things like that, like it's not quite nice, you know. Yeah, I've been to prison, Cork prison, for 5 days, you know, for simple cannabis possession and not showing up in court and all this stuff, you know. It's stuff I can kind of get into as well later on, maybe in another show a bit. And yeah, it's going to be fun, I hope. I'm looking forward to it. I hope we can build a nice audience, and I hope this show can contribute towards the changing of the drug policies in Ireland. And if you want to be a part of the show, you know, if you're a person out there, if you're an activist, if you're a campaigner, if you're a bloody rebel, get in touch with me, you know. I hope you're not camera shy. I want you to sit down in front of a camera, talking to a mic, maybe an hour, 2 hours, you know. We'll just go with the flow of the conversation. Conversations, I'm hoping to have them like completely non-scripted. For guests, I might give you a couple of questions beforehand, maybe a couple of topics that I like to delve into with you. But yeah, other than that, you know, I just want just to facilitate conversations with experts and people like that. So thanks very much again for your time, guys, and thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to speaking to you again in the future. Good luck, guys, and thanks again for listening to the first episode of Martin's World.